Hello, people. I finished a book. Took me a little while to finish this because I think I started two and stopped them both. And I finally settled on this one, and it's called Every Man Will Do His Duty, subtitled An Anthology of First-Hand Accounts from the Age of Nelson, 1793 to 1815. Although I think Nelson was dead before 1815. It was a pretty long book. Let me see. Usually I write that down, but I don't think I did. 406 pages. That's not bad. It took me a little while to finish it. I think I enjoyed this. It had some real good parts. You know, it was the best of books, and it was the worst of books. It was entirely first-hand accounts. Now, some of these first-hand accounts look like they may have been, rewritten by somebody, a professional writer. Some of them didn't. Some of them were full of misspellings. And when you're looking at first-hand accounts, and it's maybe half a page or it's a paragraph, then the misspellings are quaint, and you might smile at the misspellings. But when it's page after page of the same guy, when it's 25 pages and he's misspelling things and his sentences run together, it gets a little bit irksome. I get the point. You can't spell. Fifth paragraph, page 10, and this is about scurvy. Let's see if I can find it. Page 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now began to weigh matters and ponder on my situation, and found that since I had left England, the balance was much against me. Then I had a chest of clothes and bedding, and my liberty. Now I have little clothing, no shoes or stockings, and no liberty, and much decayed in my condition. My gums were swelled over my teeth by the scurvy, so that I could not chew my victuals without them being covered with blood. I and several others ought to have been sent to the hospital, but instead of that, we were not allowed to set our feet on the land. The scurvy, it's kind of weird. It's like they figured out what to do about it and then forgot for 25 years and then figured it out again. You just need some vitamin C. From what I understand, that's why English are called limeys, because they kept limes on board the ship, and the limes kept you from getting scurvy. Okay, I got it. My note here says first-hand accounts are nice, but limited. Why did the Spanish fare so poorly? In this book, there's some great first-hand accounts about some of the larger battles. And the English just come out on top over and over again. Not so much in the War of 1812 when they're battling American vessels. But the Spanish and the French kind of fare poorly against the English. And I have a book, it's up at the cabin. It's called Trafalgar. The entire book is about Trafalgar. And to a lesser extent, it's about Nelson, too. Nelson was kind of a funny guy. He had kind of an oddball living arrangement. At least at Trafalgar, the reason given is that the French and the Spanish, they were just taught to aim at the rigging, where I think the English concentrated more at raking the deck and putting holes in the side of the boats. Then we go to page 80. End of last paragraph on page 80. Bear with me. I will find it. I'll tell you what. I don't know what the hell. That's page 80. And and the first paragraph. Sorry. I'm out here in the garage. I don't have the lights on. The sun shines through my garage window, and that's how I'm able to make a video. But I can't read very well. I'm just going to read the whole fucking paragraph. The loss of the British squadron in killed and wounded amounted to exactly 300. Moderate indeed when compared with that of the enemy, and considering the duration of the action. But the expenditure of ammunition was, I am told, beyond any recent example. The Culloden expended, it is said, 170 barrels of powder, the Captain 146, and the Blenheim 180. Other ships expended in the same proportion. It is not unworthy of remark, also, that not a single gun in the British squadron burst in this action. That's why I singled that out, because guns exploded, especially when they tried to make the switch from brass to steel. Guns exploded and killed everybody around them. They don't really do that anymore. Trafalgar, there's a pretty good section in here on Trafalgar. The death of Nelson. I believe that I've read the exact same account written by the ship's surgeon on the death of Nelson. It's in my book that I have up north. A lot of times the French and Spanish would be outnumbered, so they would run for the safety of a port, where they would often be covered by, there would be a castle, or there would be a gun emplacement, and they would feel safe hiding underneath, these emplaced guns. So the English, instead of running in there with their ships, would take what they called fire ships, and they would get this ship ready to be a fucking floating mass of pitch flames. And this is the first time I've run into this. If you were caught preparing this fire ship or sailing it in the middle of the night, it was like being a spy. They could execute you. So apparently the fire ships were greatly feared. They also threw Congreve rockets on these fire ships. Congreve rocket is pretty cool. It shows up in the United States national anthem. They used Congreve rockets during the Zulu Wars, and at oh my God, I can't remember the name of this place. A battle in the Napoleonic Wars. I have a book about nothing but this, but now I can't think of the name of it. Leipzig. At Leipzig, I even admonished some people on YouTube one time that there was no English troops at Leipzig, but I was wrong. And I actually went back and told them I was wrong. They didn't know I was wrong, but I knew it, so I went back and said, "You dumb motherfuckers. I had to find out myself I was wrong." There was a unit of British troops that were operating some Congreve rockets at Leipzig. I'm not exactly sure how these fucking rockets worked, because apparently the Congreve rocket at Leipzig, when it went where you aimed it, was kind of a terror weapon. It sounds like there was, I don't know, it sounds like there was fucking napalm in the thing or something. One of the chapters of the book that I thought didn't belong in here was Corona. It's spelled Corruna, and I don't know if that's in Portugal or Spain, but the British troops are retreating. Napoleon has chased them across Spain, and some of these guys get off a boat and climb a hill and watch the battle. You know, I didn't buy this book to see an account of a land battle. There's another really long chapter where these English gentlemen are taken prisoner and held in various prisons in France and their escape attempts. And there's also quite a bit about privateers. And privateers, everybody used them. The Americans were fucking famous for using privateers. Some privateers, like, went pure pirate, and they would even take their own people's ships. Everybody did it, you know. Even all the way up into World War I, you know, they had liners that were disguised, and then they could pull up some guns, and that's kind of like a privateer. I'm on the fence about privateers. In one sense, they were, you know, heroic, and in another, they were just fucking pirates, and it would suck to get killed by a privateer. A lot of these things start out with these guys running up false flags, too. I don't know what the rules are. But it was a good book, all in all. Thanks.